What up? It's Sharp here. The prodigal son has returned back
Yes.
with the Kickdown at 2 AEW Dynamite review for June 30th, 2021. Just want to say thanks to Chris and Quags for keeping the train rolling in my stead while I was out in the boonies in Colorado.
On
I
your
told them
secret
earlier-
mission.
Secret mission.
I told them earlier I did not get a chance to watch the Dynamites. It didn't seem like I was missing that much, but it was great to get an actual recap rather than just having to read just a report. So thank you guys.
No problem. The
Oh,
band's
man.
back together.
Keeping me
We're
informed and
so-
entertained.
Oh yeah, exactly. We'll let you miss you down for that one.
We're so excited to have you back. Yeah, the only real thing you missed was the pay-per-view. I mean, which was
yeah.
just so
Phenomenal.
awesome, but
Phenomenal.
feels
Yeah.
like we're building to a good.
Yeah,
it's a good time for you to
for
come.
so long.
Good time for you to come back because we're just about to go on the road. We got some emotional videos we're showing at the end of Dynamite. Now we're back on Wednesdays. We're back, baby.
Really quick, I just gotta say, I'm a little pissed. I looked at the traveling schedule and they're not even going past Texas yet. They're just traveling up the East Coast. So they got some Philly shows, Newark, New York.
There I go. I gotta hit those up.
So I will say we bought tickets, me and my friend Danny, shout out Danny. I think he listens actually to the pod.
Nice.
We had tickets for like April 2020 that we bought in, January or whenever. Got delayed till October, got delayed until I don't know when, but now actually we did get confirmation for this October, I think. So they are booking out farther to come to more places. I don't know if they're publicly on sale yet, but they're just doing it for people that bought tickets before. But have no fear, they're going to be in a city near you soon.
Nice. Good.
So-
Good. Shout out to Danny. And Danny, if you haven't subscribed yet, click that orange box.
Danny, great.
Trust us, if you do subscribe,
Trust
we'll
us.
know.
Danny, great bartender. In his basement, he has a bar. We almost went in on getting a replica title belt just to do it, but they were $700. So we said, that's too
You know
much
what?
money.
Maybe not.
Even if they were $100, I think you made the right decision. Because belts are so geeky.
No, it's
People bring
fun,
'em up.
man. It's fun.
All right, well,
Love
to
the-
each their own. But let's hop on into the show.
Yeah.
All right, so Jericho came out to do some guest commentary, and then he commentated on Penta and Kingston actually defeating the Young Bucks in about 15 minutes, non-title match with a Fear Factor pile driver followed by a Kingston spinning back fist. What'd you think, Quags?
Oof. So first of all, I love Jericho on commentary. I really love Jericho. I thought he brought a lot of life to it. I think he's really with it. And as much as I love JR, for example, sometimes the dude fumbles over his words for a extensive amount of time.
Sometimes.
And you can tell he's trying to think of the thing, and like he still has it, but man, is the anchor, it's tough. So I loved Jericho being there. I think it made me realize like how much life could be brought to commentary, and I think I know what Jericho is going to be doing in the next couple of years. The Bucks are living this heel gimmick. They really are doing it. It comes across so well, almost to the point where just them coming out is half as good as the match they're going to put on, and they still put on a great match. Couple highlights for me were the corkscrew code red from Penta, just really awesome.
Yeah.
I loved when that was clearly a 3 count, and this ref. We gotta hear more about why the ref is in the pocket for the Bucks. I know this has been like a theme. I don't know if that's covered on Dark or on BTE at some point, but I mean it's clear that he's in the pocket for them. So I would like to know more about that because it was a 3 count. I don't think I ever in my I guess now it's close to 10 years of wrestling fandom. I can't remember a "that was 3" chant where I was like, yeah, that was 3. That was very clearly 3.
Wait, real quick to speak on that. That is the ref. That's like the personal ref that refs all the Young Bucks matches. That's the LA guy that they brought in. But I actually turned away
don't
from
talk
the
about
match
that,
when
though.
that happened. I didn't even see it. So I was like, I guess it was just like a normal kick out and fans wanted it to.
That was
I know
actually
that's their
definitely-
guy.
You think it was definitely staged to be a 3 count, or do you think they maybe just messed up?
No, I think he slightly screwed up, but they played it well. And I know that's their guy. I know that by now, but they don't really talk about that. So it's like, is it story? Is it not? Which is okay for it to be a gray area, but it's been so much that they've done that now where I kind of need a little bit more exposition, I guess.
Mhm.
And I will say, like, I like the ending. I was still surprised that the Bucks lost. I mean, like, I get it that they want this to be a title match now. And shout out like Eddie Kingston for now partnering with 2 other people. And
Yeah.
Jericho really put him over well, to not make it seem like it was just a BS kind of thing of 2 single competitors together. But yeah, I like this match a lot. I mean, I feel like we've been talking about how Fridays haven't been as good for whatever reason. I think they knew that and they really wanted to kick this off. And this is just a vintage Bucks crazy match. Yeah, I was way over on this. Loved it.
Yeah. No, as soon as the Young Bucks came out, opening match, you know how they start off hot right from the get-go. So I knew this was going to be good. Yeah, agree with every point you said. My actual, like, even if it was a mistake, not a mistake, I think that was like my favorite part of the match where they don't know if it's 3. Everyone's chanting this was 3. I'm like, okay, like it just added so much more when like the crowd was like so into it. I'm like, oh my God, this is like 10,000 times better when like the crowd's like super into it.
Holding up the 2, but knowing it was 3 was good. Like that was all
like
good.
It adds, so if they messed up, like I think they played off very well, and if it was on purpose, it's still my favorite part of the match because like it adds realism to it, as in like when you like the NBA playoffs are happening, all that stuff, like the hometown crowd will boo like if they don't agree with the call and everything. So like it was just nice that the fans are, it just showed everyone was really into it, saying, oh, that was BS, that was 3 or whatever, and everyone's just super into it. And I loved when Matt was just screaming, like just smiling and like kind of sweating. I was like, no, that was 2, that was 2, that was 2, and I was like cracking up. I'm like, that's hilarious. I could definitely do without their dumbass mustaches, by the way. I thought that was
so
like
heelish.
I get it.
Come on.
Whoa.
I get it.
Strong disagree from me on that one.
I get it. But they revamped themselves so much. I just saw that. I'm like, just stop. Just like, I get it. Just stop. But then like Future in the show, Megan did the same thing. So I guess they all made a pact like, hey, let's just have random facial hair or whatever.
Well,
but I love that.
And Nakazawa on the outside had the mustache.
He's such an anomaly to me. As a, like, let's give this guy a laptop and just stroll around.
I thought this match was awesome too. I love the facial hair. I got a kick out of it. I love Tony immediately being like, "They look like porn stars."
Yes, I can't believe they said that. That was crazy.
And with to just add on to the, was it 2 or was it 3? It stuck out to me specifically that the crowd was like all in on, we want the good guys to win. It made it look so much better than like a WWE crowd that would just kind of just watch it and be like, oh, whatever, like keep wrestling. Jericho, I've always thought he was better as a heel, but I thought he was so good on commentary tonight, specifically in this match, putting over wrestlers consistently, heel or face. Maintaining his character while he did it. I thought he just did such a good job, to build on your point, Quags, that you said he brought a lot of energy. He just also knows, sometimes when he was a heel, he would just yell and be obnoxious. This time, I think he was actually like helping to put people over a lot more. And my last thing is, despite like the big interference, I'm not a big fan of like interference finishes and whatnot. I thought this one was done extremely well. And I'm also a huge fan of the cold spray gimmick. I think it's really fun.
I don't hate it.
I get a kick out of it.
I don't hate it. It's just weird. Just like I never used to.
They do it in New Japan all the time.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was really funny, and I loved when he kept spraying it in the Young Bucks' face, and Jericho goes, "Just stop spraying it, you idiot!" Yeah, that was good.
Even there was, I forget what he actually said, but there was a brief point where Jim Ross, which he fumbled a lot of stuff, but he fumbled something earlier in the match, and Jericho really subtly corrected him without bringing attention to it in a way that like Excalibur would be like, actually, Jim, it's San Jose, California, where that would like Jim be like, I want to be a dick.
Yeah,
I thought he did great.
Excalibur is my favorite, to be honest, but Jericho just is like so refreshing when he gets out, when he gets going through.
Well, he's a dominating presence too, which is part of why like I don't want him to be there all the time.
Yeah,
but
right. It's good that they have him sparingly.
Yeah, when he's there. All right, I won't jump ahead, but remind me at the main event talk about Jericho putting people over.
Yeah.
All right.
If I forget.
Before that main event, we had Christian Cage talking about everybody being proud of Jungle Boy. He told him he'd be the champion soon, and tonight he'd be the first AEW wrestler to make it to 50 wins. Luchasaurus thanked Christian for having Jungle Boy's back, and they briefly bonded over having relatives with dinosaur DNA. I thought this was a sign that later Christian's going to turn heel. I think he's kind of was a little patronizing. I didn't hate this. It was a little goofy, but it's just a shame. And I've heard that Jungle Boy hates cutting promos, and it shows, because that dude, when the mic comes out, he is scared. But it's a shame that other people have to cut his promos for him.
Yeah,
it's weird. And I thought it's like, doesn't Christian want the title? And I appreciate this mentor thing that they're doing with Jungle Boy, and I understand why they're doing it. I mean, it makes sense in kayfabe, but in real life, dude's got to learn how to talk, especially when you're super over like that. Like you gotta, I mean, you don't have to say a lot when you're really over. So something has to happen here.
Yeah.
Also, I appreciated they brought the rest of Jurassic Express in for that whole bit, and that was funny. I thought that was funny. He was like, "Oh, my uncle." You know, I kind of miss Luchasaurus. I think like that Bear Country match was so bad that they almost like put them out the pasture for a bit. But
I completely forgot about
that. That was such a
I really almost feel like Tony Khan watched that match and he's like, this is really bad. Like, but they got to work back into all this at some point. So,
yeah. No, it was good. Honestly, it was a borderline WWE joke when they were talking about the dinosaurs, but I think both of them played it off well. So I was like, okay, that was funny. Yeah, it's apparent. The Jungle Boy and Omega match, like, by the way, on Saturday, great. Like it was fun to watch and everything. Like they built it up like after finally they finished their filler Friday shows and then lead up to Saturday. Now we're on Wednesdays. That's perfect. Yeah, he's gonna have to start talking at this point. Like he's just gonna, because I think I messaged you, Eric, about this, that there's like very rare like white meat like type of baby faces, as in like they go out and people just cheer for him just because he's a good wholesome person. That's Jungle Boy. But if he's not going to talk, like people will know that for sure. And yeah, Cage is definitely going to turn on him. I think he plays off way better as a heel.
Yeah,
and I think it's like, when you say patronizing, I think it's almost redundant if he does this every week, saying like, this is your time, and then next week is like, you got this is your time. Like, okay, we get it. Like at this point, like just figure it out or whatever. And then they brought up the HFO thing, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
Oh gosh. Yeah, also I hope you are the champion one day. Like that reads exactly like, yeah, I hope you take the belt off Kenny so then I can very easily like take the belt off you. Like,
yeah.
All right, so next we have Shivani in ring interviewing Ethan Page. Ethan shut the crowd up before saying his goal is to exterminate Darby Allin. Said every time he goes for a coffin drop, he's going to think of Ethan. Sting's music played, and he brought out a coffin. A Darby video played of him using a flamethrower, and then Darby burst out of the coffin, and the tandem whooped Page and Scorpio's ass. Darby gouged Ethan's eyes. Ethan called off the match because he wouldn't be 100%. If Darby can sign a contract that he won't touch him next the week before the match, then maybe he'd see him at Fyter Fest. What'd you think, Chris?
I'm a huge fan of Ethan Page. I think every time he comes on, he just cracks me up. As soon as like, and Quags give you a shout out right here. He acknowledged the crowd immediately. As soon as like he was talking, everyone was trying to interrupt him. He tells the crowd to shut up. Classic heel move. So you gotta appreciate that. And just classic heel stuff. Like, I actually thought it was interesting that he called off the match just because he's like, I'm not going to be 100%. Just getting after attacked. I thought that's like kind of like a very like chicken shit type like a move, but like that's supposed to be like him now and whatever. And I dig his promos a lot. I think week after week, even like through those filler shows, he was cutting great promos saying like, I'm going to beat Darby in this. And I think this feud of like those two against Sting and Darby actually has blossomed great for all four of these guys. And now they can kind of shine a little bit because, like, to be honest, what Paige debuted right in that ladder match that grabbed the Cheerio, whatever the hell that
Brass
was.
ring.
Yeah.
Cheerio.
Yeah. And I was like excited, but then at the same time, like you see a lot of people kind of like flash of the pan debut and then they don't do anything else. I feel like he's kind of stepping up of just wanting to like eradicate Darby, who's like a full-fledged like AEW star now, and I think he's gonna just shine in that light in that retrospect.
Yeah, see, I think this is where Chris and I turn heel on you, Sharp. Like, I think we're all in on Men of the Year a little bit, and
I didn't even know that was their names.
It is.
Yeah,
get with it.
They're the Men of the Year.
Year.
So I agree. I like this Ethan Page promo. I liked everything that happened after. The only thing that was weird is felt like they just needed to, the card is too full next week, so they needed to delay the match.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit of a weird way to do it, but whatever.
Well, I actually think I have some info on that. I think they moved it. This is what I was reading online, and it might be wrong because bad things happen every day. But there was some sort of building collapse in Miami really recently, and a lot of people died. So I think they might not want to do a coffin match because of that.
Oh, that actually makes sense.
And if that's the case, this is a very clever, like you said, Christopher, just being like, get your eyes gouged and be like, oh, you cheated. Like going into like such a brutal match. I love a heel acting like that.
Yes, exactly.
That did happen, and our thoughts are with the Surfside community
absolutely.
there. But okay. All right. So I kind of withdraw my criticism from that.
There you go.
so anyway, I mean, just talking about the wrestling, like, love Sting coming out, love the reaction, love Darby being in the coffin, like all that was really good. And yeah, I liked Scorpio Sky, and then I did not like this direction they took, and I've done a total 180. I think they've validated it. I think they seem like a team. Like the stuff they've been doing with Paige and Sky has been really good, I think. And I also like the idea that they're trying to build that history in with all ego Ethan Page wanting to just like kill Darby Allin, basically. I mean, he just wants to hurt him, and he's like, I put that dent in your skull, like all that stuff. It's compelling to me, and when they're on screen, it's compelling. So yeah,
that's a good word, compelling. I think that's so too.
I actually dig the Page and Sky tandem as well. I do get a bit of a, while I thought this promo was good, I got like an I'm performing a wrestling promo rather than this is actually how I feel vibe. But I still thought he did it well. Like, he performed the wrestling promo well. I did get a kick out of him saying he's going to exterminate him. And then he was like, anytime you do the cough and drop, you're going to think of me. It's like, well, he'd be dead if you exterminate.
That's reading into it quite well.
Yeah.
But my last note is, being that I've been out of the game for a little bit, I think AEW's done a really good job with Darby in terms of having him lose the TNT title and then bringing him into another meaningful feud that makes sense, that why he wouldn't even want to focus on the TNT title. I think they did a really good job of bringing him into a new feud, which is what WWE used to do so well. They used to do such a good job at being like, oh, now Triple H is going to verse this guy because he attacked him then. I think they've done a really good job with him, because I don't think that's someone you want to have a big title run and then fall by the wayside, kind of the way they did with Orange Cassidy.
A little bit. I was kind of confused about how they're using Orange Cassidy. I thought they were going to push him for a singles title shot, and then now he's kind of doing other things. It's just, they didn't really have any clear picture on that one.
Oh, I think they know what they're doing. Don't you think they're gonna have a whole intergender thing going on here? That's a huge opportunity in wrestling that I think no one is doing.
That mixed tag match?
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing it all over like the independents and whatnot, but let's not get too far into
We'll
that.
talk about that. That's next
week.
week when they have the match. We'll talk about that.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right. So then we had a pre-tape with Matt Hardy calling out Jungle Boy for sticking his nose in HFO business. Then Jungle Boy defeated Jack Evans about 6 minutes with the snare trap. Hardy family office interfered, but so did Christian, and they put the beat down on Hardy.
My 2 takeaways from this are, wow, Jungle Boy really is over. And wow, I really hate the Hardy family office gimmick. I wish it would go away. Don't like it. Don't think that these wrestlers have anything in common. Don't think it adds anything to them to be in the Hardy family office. I really hope that Christian and Matt Hardy wrestle, and Christian puts Hardy into, I mean, ideally broken Matt Hardy or some other thing, and the Hardy family office breaks up. As far as the match, it was fine. I mean, we all knew Jungle Boy was going to win, and he did. And he did fine. But all I could think about is how much I want the Hardy family office to break up.
All right, let me drop in 2 quick abbreviated points. Let the post-match battles begin. We don't need post-match brawls for this. And I loved Jericho when Jungle Boy came out. He's like, I don't really like this singing his song thing. That was hilarious. That was very funny.
That's so Jericho being tweener, where he's such a face, but he's like, no, maybe I'm a heel. Like maybe I shoot on other guys. Yeah, that's good.
It's just fun, self-aware stuff too. I think it's so great.
Yeah, the self-awareness is actually key. It makes you feel like, okay, I'm not the only one that's crazy enough that like he knows that like too. Like it does. It's refreshing. But yeah, this match. I mean, like this whole HFO thing. We all know what the purpose of it is. Like, I feel like they just had like a think tank of like, all right, how do we use Private Party? How do we use TH2? How do we use Butcher and Blade? How do we use this? Well, let's put them all in a group. And then I could just see Matt Hardy coming in and be like, yeah, I'll be this big money Mac guy. And like, I'll pay them all off and I'll lead them. And I'm like, okay. So it gives them something to do. It's just not working for me, not working for us or like really anyone.
On the whiteboard, I understand how it passes, but they gotta know that it's not working, right? So that's, maybe they don't, but I think they have to know.
Like, I'll be straight up. I'm not that interested in Private Party. I'm not interested in any of these people, so I don't mind them just being in the group and not being important. Personally, I don't even think some of these people should be on the roster.
I don't mind them being in a group. It's just the group's not working. It's just like, what was it, months ago?
It's weird. It doesn't make any sense.
The height of this was that
none of them have any similarities.
What was that? What was that feud he had with Hangman Page? That big money match or whatever? Like, I thought that was funny and like it kind of made sense with their thing. They're like, oh, you get a quarter of their earnings, and then that kind of should have been like the setting the sail of like, all right, let's deflate this a little bit. But then he added more, and I was like, all right.
So I do like Private Party at least, and I feel like that's holding them back. Like at the same time, like I understand they're doing different stuff with the tag division right now, and the Bucks kind of have their own thing going on. But yeah, I don't know. I just like be the like tag champions on Dark. Or be the best like dark champions.
Maybe you know what I could see this happening. You know what's their new show called, Rampage or whatever.
Rampage.
Could see Matt
Make this point quick. We're wasting way too much time.
Sorry. Yeah. True.
I could see them being on that show and pushing storylines through there. We'll end it off on that. But good job for Jungle Boy, getting 50 wins. That's cool.
Oh yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Jungle Boy is clearly like.
Dude, he's going to be the superstar. He has to get bigger though. Like he is tiny. He has to get bigger.
Yeah.
All right. Then we saw a pre-tape MJF calling out Jericho to throw in the towel. He jabbed at Jericho for constantly attacking him, told him that he's become a joke. Next week, MJF will dole out stipulations for the final match that Jericho's demanding. Then he talked up his main event match with Sammy. Sammy's the future because MJF is the now. He's better than you, and he knows it. Then we cut to Jericho yelling that he's lower than the snake's belly, and he'll like accept any stipulations. but Sammy will beat MJF
Well,
tonight.
wait, he'll accept any stipulation except for him running over me with a Mack truck.
Yeah. Which was a great line. I'll just say, per usual, real good. Nothing new that MJF cut a great promo. Genuinely interested what these stipulations are. Last time he did this was with Cody, and we got that Wardlow Cody cage match, which I thought was really good. So I think it's a fun hook, and I'm looking forward to it. And wait, real quick, on paper, I could give a shit about MJF versus Jericho, just in a straight up match perspective. But I'm interested in all this. This is classic. They're building the match up through personalities and promos, where the actual match is not going to be that great. But like, this is like wrestling 101. Make us interested in the match through other means.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I am a little bit I am very intrigued because like I love the MJF and Cody buildup. Like, because the match was like okay, didn't deliver to the buildup, but the buildup was phenomenal. So I could see this happening as well. I am a little bit worried though that like, is this repetitive? But like, I enjoyed that build up so much that like I'm kind of overlooking that as like I want to see it again. Okay, like I'm fine with it being repetitive, and he's just very good on the mic. I know this is like only stuff, but like my favorite part or the line, and I knew he was gonna say it too. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, okay, who's the future, me or Sammy?" And I knew he was gonna say Sammy, as in like, "Yeah, he's the future because I'm the now or whatever." And I was just like, "Yeah, that guy just."
It's a great line,
exuding confidence all day.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I'm excited for all this. I mean, the Pinnacle Inner Circle stuff started at a 10, but somehow has like stayed at a 10. So
yeah, I'm excited for the individual matches, like a lot. Very excited for the individual matches. I mean, give me FTR versus Ortiz and Santana. I'm very excited for that one.
All right, so then we had a pre-tape with Andrade El Idolo. He said he'd make an example of Matt something. Matt next weekend. Road Rager in Miami. What'd you think, Chris?
I think the match is going to be good. I think Andrade is very good. I think they're smart to pair him off with Sydal. I just don't care, and not to be like me, I just don't care much about Matt Sydal, to be honest. When they signed him in, like he was like kind of the, I just thought he was just a guy. So now like they're trying to make him like kind of important. They said he's like the 5th ranked singles guy or whatever. I'm like, okay, it's hard to invest in that. I'm more looking forward for Andrade to kind of have his coming out party, because I think he's going to be very good, but he just kind of needs to show it a little bit. Promo was okay. I mean, it was just more of like, it's the same thing. It gets to a point where he has to now, he's been teasing like a surprise or whatever. He has to kind of show up and do the match now. He's phenomenal in the ring though.
I think they're trying to figure this character out a little bit, honestly. I think they have it in their heads, but they're trying to figure out how it is like in speech and in action. And I will be happy to see it in the ring. I think, Chris, to your point, I'm starting to figure out what Matt Sydal is for, which is to look really good, beat top mid-card guys, and then lose to new talent.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
nothing wrong with it
at all. It's like a full deck of cards.
Super high on Matt Sydal.
Not high on him.
I agree. After this, the match he had on Saturday, which I thought was a fun, really fun filler match. And also he was upping that dude that's 20, the new, and forgive me for forgetting his name.
Oh yeah,
Dante Martin.
Yeah, the
Dante Martin. Yeah.
Tag team.
Yeah, top flight. And he's basically like, hey, let's do a spots match, like a fully choreographed. Like he brought him through it. Like I'm actually like, I mean, we used to really talk crap about the Sydals.
I don't think I ever did as much as you guys.
I'll raise my hand to that one. I did.
But yeah, I think like it's starting to become clear, like, oh, they joined, they're really like working for the company and the talent, like in a really effective way. And it's going to be awesome to see Andrade beat Matt Sydal, but him probably look good and like do whatever. So yeah, this is flip around a little bit and then ultimately lose. Well, I mean,
that's a very good point. I will say that you need everyone to, you need your mid card, you need your main eventers, and you need your lower level guys. You need them all.
And it's awesome to have a guy that's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good doing that.
And he had a killer match with Christian. He had a killer match with Kenny Omega back in the day. He puts on consistent matches, and like you said, where he is in the pecking order, you know who he's going to lose to, you know who he's going to beat. I think he's really good. He is boring though. Granted, like as a personality.
Oh yeah, I mean he's great in the ring, but boring as a person. Well, that's probably why he is where he is. Honestly.
Yeah. I thought this was actually really good. I think he looked like a star. I'm definitely higher on Andrade than you guys are, just because I think I'm a little more familiar with him outside of WWE, and I'm expecting him to be pretty big. Just him in a suit looking like an absolute pro, like a stud. Like, you know, chicks are gonna love him too. Come on.
Yeah. Chicks. No, that's true. You need to look professional, because sometimes they do fall in the scheme of like, oh, okay, let's come out with our Hawaiian shirts or our board shorts, whatever. And it does look like you guys look like chumps or whatever. Having a guy who's kind of a pro's pro, I agree. Like, I'm excited to see him kind of go in the ring.
He is like a huge handsome man too. I didn't think about really that. Like, I always think it's funny when my wife Sarah asked me about like Roman Reigns and what he's up to, and I'm like, why do you get
my ex-girlfriend was really into Roman Reigns too.
Yeah.
He's hot.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, you forget like that's the whole group that they're appealing to. Yeah, so Andrade is gonna be great. It's almost better that when he only speaks in Spanish too. Honestly, that's fine.
Give him a mouthpiece. Him pairing off with Vicky, or give him a manager, that's fine.
Or
you don't have to.
What's wrong with subtitles? Like, we all watch these foreign shows on Netflix now. Like,
wait, real quick. Hard pass on giving a mouthpiece in my opinion. Even his broken English, I did not think was bad, and I just think he's too compelling of an entity to have someone else speak for him. That's like what you do with Jungle Boy.
No, I will say this though: how long can that go? Like, how long can he speak broken English, and how long can he do that week to week to week? It's gonna,
a new world, baby.
it's gonna get old real quick. It's only gonna last for like 2 to 3 weeks.
We'll see.
He'll bring in Charlotte to speak for him.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. All right. So then we had an in-ring interview with Shivani and Omega. Omega lied to Shivani that Shivani had asked him earlier how he stays motivated. Kenny touted that he's beat a who's who of great opponents, and his work here is done for now. Dark Order came out. Evil Uno thinks differently. Omega mocked the members. They don't have enough wins to fight Omega, but Evil Uno knows someone who does. The crowd chants for Hangman, but Omega says he doesn't have the guts or the confidence to fight Omega for the belt. Goodbye and good night. What do you think, Chris?
I enjoyed this a lot. Another underrated guy that I like a lot that I could definitely see more of is Evil Uno. Big fan of him. Every time he gets, oh man, Eric, come on.
A fat guy in a suit with a mask.
Oh, okay. Fat guy.
Wow.
Yeah. Why don't you just put him down more, Eric? He's trying.
And I just listened to him on Talk is Jericho, and I still was like, whatever, this guy's sucks.
Oh, this guy's funny, dude. The guy also super serviceable on the mic. I think you know why I like him a lot? Because he's great on the mic, and he's different than everyone on the mic. Like, when he's speaking promos, like, he's not just like your typical promo. Okay, cut this, whatever. It's like an Evil Uno promo, and I actually really enjoy him in the ring. I think he's great in the ring too, for his kind of lethargic size and whatever. But whatever. At this point, when he comes in, he leads the Dark Order group in, and it's kind of like they're the lovable losers. Like, it's just like, you know what they're coming out for, whatever. Like, they got denied from Hangman, and they still love Hangman to the point of coming in. And I thought Omega was great of playing with the crowd when like they're chanting Hangman. And I love how he actually just refused to say his name. He just kept saying, if I think that you think that you know who this is, and he just kept going on with that, whatever. Yeah. And then he just says he doesn't have the guts or whatever. Perfect heel stuff. I'm becoming more and more of a fan of like Hangman's like shenanigans, even though it was a little crazy at first. Now he's starting to kind of come into his own a little bit. And I kind of like that it didn't end up in this huge brawl or whatever, because they could have easily done like the typical thing of like, Omega's out here like, oh, okay, beating everyone, and then Hangman music pops. He comes in and says, I'll challenge you. That would have been the very easy thing to do, but I actually really like that his boys came in said that like there's one guy that comes in and Omega was like, yeah, he doesn't have the guts, and then just leaves. It's just, I think that's good storytelling.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I thought this was good. I thought Omega, who I'm very critical of, even though one of my favorite wrestlers, I thought he did great here. I love that he listed all the great opponents he versed and for what reason they were a tough competitor to take down. I thought he was great. And I'm going in on Evil Uno. I have nothing against him. He's fine. But no, overall, I thought this was a really good segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. Full disclosure, when I was watching this, there was a tornado warning where I was, where it was like we didn't know if a tornado would pop up like literally in front of the house, and I was keeping Sarah and my dog away from the other dogs in the house because the dogs don't get along super well. So I was a little bit distracted. So that's just
take our word for
it.
Well, we had. I was going to say we had the power come off and on there, which is pure illustration.
We brought it back, boys.
So, but anyway, I love this Kenny segment and love the segment that followed. I guess we're going to talk about that in a moment. Yeah. But yeah, I was really hoping Hangman would come out. I love him so much, and I love this a lot. So yeah, let's talk about Brian Pillman, and then I'll tell you more about how much I love Hangman in a minute.
Right after. So we had a pre-tape with Brian Pillman Jr. saying he doesn't share the same faith as Miro, but he's got some great friends. Miro's not a god. He's a big Bulgarian bitch. Well, then Miro beat him in 7 minutes with the game over. It's like more of a rear naked joke. What'd you think, Wags?
Excuse me. Yeah, I like this whole thing that they did with the Varsity Blondes. I thought Brian Pillman Jr., like, they gave him some shine. I thought this was a thank you for some of the work that they did during the Friday shows where they carried some of it, Varsity Blondes. Yeah, Miro is awesome, man. Miro is a huge star. AEW knows it. They're putting him over so much, and I love that they're doing this thing where, so I know Miro like really has faith. Like he's like a Christian, like for real. And I think it's kind of interesting how they're going to use that into him like having a Messiah complex and frame this up. So like the way he behaves is fascinating to me. I mean, like really, I'm really into the Miro character and how that intersects with yeah, just everything. It's great. In the Madman stuff, like Jericho. Oh, this is another thing where Jericho did great. Where he goes, look at his eyes, when Miro does that, because I think Jericho probably catches all the stuff that the wrestlers do and wants to put attention towards it, where the rest of the commentary might not be doing that regularly. But like, it's a thing that Jericho really wants to make sure people realize, and it's great to have him call attention to that.
Yeah, definitely. This is light years better than when he like debuted with this whole video game thing or his Twitch thing. I thought maybe I just missed the boat because I'm not really into the whole Twitch thing. I know there's a whole fan base for that, but then I was like, no, this is kind of falling flat a little bit. But it's also timing is everything. You can't push every guy at the same time too. So now this is his turn, and very compelling of like, I think it's funny how he's like pushing himself as this Messiah type deal, saying this is God's favorite champion or whatever. And then he just starts mauling people, and he's phenomenal at being like this brute of a person, just going into Brian Pillman every time he gets there, whatever, gives like, and it's good. It's like, he plays like the big heel, gives them a little bit of a comeback. It's an easy story to tell. And then like, you just decimates them. So like when someone finally takes the title off of him, it's going to mean something.
So I actually have a decent amount of notes on this. I really like this segment. Brian Pillman Jr.'s promo is exactly the promo that Jungle Boy needs to start cutting. It's just a straight up white meat babyface.
Yes.
I like Brian Pillman Jr. a lot. I think he's really good. I like the 80s hair metal Varsity Blonde entrance. It's not like anything else on the show. It's not like necessarily like them in varsity jackets. it's a shout out to the Hollywood Blondes. His dad was in, and there also was a varsity club. So I think it's a combination of the two of those back in the day. Miro's new entrance song is so good. It's so much better than the "He's the best man" or whatever the hell that was. Match itself, I thought was really good. Exactly what it needed to be. I liked. Speaking of Pillman Jr.'s promo, Bulgarian bitch was already used by Lance Archer like a few weeks ago, so that kind of bothered me. Another version, another bitch. We get it. You guys can curse.
We need the word bitch on the show, Eric. We need it.
Yeah. I'm not going to point to stuff from the Saturday show too much, but Miro had a line at the end that was something like, "The smartest thing you ever did was like thinking you could beat me. Like the dumbest thing you ever did was actually trying to," or some version of that.
Yes.
And it was so good.
That's exactly what he said. The smartest thing you ever did was think you could try to beat me. The dumbest thing you could, exactly what he said. Was try to actually do it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great character. It's night and day from the stupid video game thing. So after that, we had Hangman kind of berating Dark Order for making the challenge on his behalf. They said they don't think he's scared of Kenny. They think he's scared of failure. They believe in him. It's his time. I got mixed feelings on this, but I think I'm going to be on the lower end. Just that a title competitor is usually this like confident guy, but this is such a new age, like, I don't quite believe in myself. Maybe I have some anxiety. He might have a little bit of a drinking issue, but like his friends building him up to, who knows, maybe he won't beat Kenny the first time and it'll be like a setback, or he'll beat him right away. And I actually think this story will resonate with people quite a bit. And I think he's going to get quite the ovation when he comes back.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm on the other side of the spectrum where I'm pretty high on this. I thought this was really compelling, where, because we see it so many times, I just said it before, that like someone comes in, music hits, I'm challenging you, I'm the number one ranked guy, and you haven't beat me in a while or whatever. But I thought this was so good. Like, I get it, like the challenger should be confident, but that's not the Hangman that we've been getting this whole year. Like, he's been on this kind of ups and downs roller coaster. He was part of the elite, now he's out. He was kind of alienating himself so many times, and he even alienated himself from this Dark Order group. And now they accepted, saying, "Hey, we're okay with you not being part of our group, but we're still like with you." And I actually kind of like, as maybe as cheesy as it sounds, I actually liked how one by one saying like, "Yeah, you got this, Hangman." They all just kind of left as in like, "Hey, like, we get that you may not believe in yourself, but like we all believe in you." So it's either, and like I loved how they pointed out where Evil Uno even said like, "You still cheered for me even when like I lost that TNT title or whatever. So why can't we?" It was like kind of like, I felt like you were watching kind of like one of those like old school like sports movies or whatever, where it's like you just cheer on like the underdog or whatever. And then, and then Alex Reynolds, out of all the people who we usually talk about, the Dark Order, John Silver, all the other guys ever, Alex Reynolds comes up with the line and comes back saying like, "You know what, Hangman, you waited long enough. This is your time." I was just like, all right. Now I was like, that got me more pumped up for him to challenge Omega than for him just to just come in and say like, "You know what, you haven't beaten me yet." I was like, this is way better. It got me more into it.
I fully thought his music was going to hit when they did the Dark Order thing, and I was excited. And just when it didn't, and then they had this segment, I was like, wow, they're really saving him for something. I mean, it's so clear, and the story that they're telling is really interesting. How he's not confident. He doesn't think that he can win the title. You know, Jungle Boy got shotgunned into being the number one contender, and he got to wrestle for the title. And Orange Cassidy got to wrestle for the title because Paige lost to Brian Cage. So all this stuff is really interesting, and you can see like, definitely, obviously the character is depicted as having a drinking problem and doesn't have confidence in himself. And I'm so into all of it. And the Dark Order being so we always talk about the Dark Order, oh, it was so funny they did that. didn't this walk so well, that line of like your comedy characters being taken seriously and being like, no, like we're being serious about this dude. Like you need to go and challenge him. We know you can do it. And you celebrated us even when we lost. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a story for like a wrestling story for modern time. I mean, interesting to see how it plays out, because at some point I think we all think Kenny is going to, the next part of Kenny's story is losing every belt, right? So I don't know how that is going to happen or whatever, but maybe Hangman is part of it, maybe not, but it's really I love what they're doing with this.
All right, so then we had Taz cutting a promo without Cage or Starks there. He had Hook and Hobbs there. They're sick of the feud between the two. Cage will defend his FTW title against Starks coming up. Hobbs and Hook were awkward, but I did like this. I think it's inevitable that when they have the match, they'll all interfere and beat down Cage, and Starks will beat him. And it's nice to see that Ricky Starks is on the way back after the neck injury.
Yeah, they're finally using that belt that was been like kind of used as a prop for like this whole time. Now they're finally.
I could care less about that. Yeah.
So I mean, it just gives them something to do with it, but like at the same time, like yeah, I only like this, but just because it's finally moving along of like what's been going to happen, whatever. But been super pumped for Hobbs, like this whole thing, where he kind of first came in. I just thought he was just going to be like this good guy, big guy, or whatever. Now he's kind of coming into his own. I've been really pumped for, even if like in ring works, that type of stuff too.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add.
All right, then let's go on to Britt Baker and Rebel beating Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero about 8 minutes after Britt tapped Vicky out with the lockjaw. After the match, Nyla powerbombed Britt, and then she powerbombed her off the apron through a table. Chris, take it away.
This was cool. This was really fun. I didn't get this. I didn't like when they announced it that Vicky was coming back. Like, I'm like, why? But then I'm thinking like, okay, they must be doing something. And then like, it was just someone who clearly shouldn't be there is there. And then someone got really hurt like during it. Like I heard Rebel got really hurt and she got carried back. So hopefully she's okay. We'll see. I haven't like read anything on it, but I saw a video when they're trying to carry her to the back and
her leg is blown out for sure.
Yeah. So leads me to believe like what was the point of this initially? And I get it. I think like it's kind of interesting now. The match just sucked, but whatever. I'm more intrigued on like at the end of it where I'm kind of tired of Nyla Rose doing the same thing. Like, yeah, she's a beast, and then like power bombs her. I think this is more of selling that Britt Baker can like. That's the whole reason why she got over, right? Because she put herself through so much like punishment with that Thunder Rosa match. That was phenomenal. So again, her getting power bombed off the apron to the table just shows that she's willing to do anything. But like, I was kind of more excited for her to have like a heel run, and now it seems like it's set in stone that like she'll be the baby face while Nyla's like is the heel. I feel like it's repetitive. We've seen that so many times, but again, it's Britt Baker, so it's new and it's different, and we're all excited about Britt Baker's like title run. So maybe she'll be more of a tweener, kind of trying to cheat this through a little bit. But the match is very unnecessary. But the post match, yeah, it was cool getting powerbombed through the table. But kind of just wonder why are they going this route?
Seemed like a way to prove that Nyla and Britt was like a real match. But that's fine. Like I'm just kind of over it. I don't understand why Nyla had to be the first opponent for Britt. I wish it was Thunder Rosa. I think Thunder Rosa is the next opponent for Britt. I hope so, at least. Yeah, this got us to the point of caring about that match, but I don't understand why we have to have that match.
There's so many other options they could have used. They had like who's that Serena Deeb person? So she's been doing great. I don't get it. Like why this?
Let me say real quick. I when Britt was walking in, I was like, she is so over that maybe they paired her up with another heel, being like, we know she's going to be over, so let's at least put her against another heel so it doesn't look super stupid when the face doesn't get cheered, the way kind of like the Hikaru Shida match happened. And then this match, granted, it's a mixed tag with two people that are more manager than wrestler. One is 100% manager than wrestler. And it just sucked. And it was very much like, why is this on the show?
Yeah.
And it just was like, why? This really made me kind of be like, the women's division is still not quite there yet.
Well, it's so
there.
stupid because they have so many women that can wrestle, but they put this on. I don't know. It's annoying.
They could have got like
Wags, to your point real quick. I think Thunder Rosa is going to be the person to take the title off her, so I think they're going to wait for that match.
Yeah, that
and I also get why they don't like. They're literally. I mean, they literally say on the promo, "We're going to Britsburg," right? Like instead of Pittsburgh. So, she's gonna have the range for a while. But okay, I get Thunder Rosa taking it off her, but
she's been cutting such good like heel promos, so that's why I'm saying like if you're gonna kind of double down on her, like, oh, she's gonna get cheered anyway, and be like, all right, then kind of gear her character a little differently if she's gonna get cheered no matter what. But like it's not about her being booed or cheered. It's more about like we've seen this Nyla stuff a lot. Like she's gonna be the monster heel, and then we're gonna get the underdog baby face, and then I'm like, we've seen that so many times with them, and not to discredit Nyla. It's just that when the women's division was floundering, that's really the only story they could tell.
Yeah.
I gotta give props to Britt though too, because like she was nobody like 2 years ago or whatever, right? And then like she becomes this huge star. Working this heel gimmick, and then as happens sometimes, you work the heel gimmick so well that you become a face. And now she's the champ, rightfully so, but still has to be a heel. That's hard. Like it's all difficult. And she's not like she's younger. She's not a vet. So like it's she's not Charlotte Flair. Not to like, but who can so easily like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it could switch
like,
on and off.
So it's tough. And then you also have
Charlotte Flair's not a good example because she can't be a face whatever.
No, I know. I don't know who the better example is, but
probably Becky Lynch.
Yeah. Well, gosh.
No one's gonna boo her.
She couldn't be a heel.
Right. You could, but the point stands either way, right? Like it's hard. Like also. I mean, Chris and I talked about this when you were off on your secret mission, Sharp, where it's like people are cheering for you, and Britt wants to lean into that, but meanwhile she has to cut a promo on the fans and saying like, "Well, you weren't with me from day one," right. And inside she's like, "Man, all I want to do is like get these cheers."
Let me just say though that is not really necessarily an indictment of Britt. It's more of an indictment of the rest of the women's roster because, for instance, the Young Bucks are going to get cheered. They did not get cheered versus Penta and Eddie Kingston because the fans love Penta and Eddie. You need to build up good, strong faces, and I don't think they necessarily have great, strong face women wrestlers.
Good point.
Besides Thunder Rosa, which I think they're keeping her. If Serena Deeb was in there, I think Britt Baker would still get cheered much more than Serena Deeb.
Or I was gonna say Ty maybe, but yeah, I think you're right. I think she still gets cheered.
Oh, she's gonna hit the DD tie. Here we go.
All right, so let's move on to let's move on to backstage promo with Hager and Proud and Powerful. Built up their 6-man tag team match next week. I believe it's with Sean Spears and FTR. Hager talked trash about Wardlow. Oh no, it's not. It's with Wardlow. And Santana said Tully's in the opponent's corner. They'd have Conan in theirs. What do you think, Quags?
Yeah, I thought this is good. I mean, like, I don't have a lot to say about it except for just the Pinnacle Inner Circle stuff has been really good. I mean, like, front to back, basically. So this is another example of that. And they're highlighting everyone. They're not keeping it on Jericho and MJF with a bunch of cronies or Sammy and, like, they're doing a great job at this. So all positive for me.
You know who's like super underrated on the mic is Santana. I think that guy probably knows he could cut phenomenal promos, and I don't think that like they just want to unleash that yet. I think they're probably waiting. Like been talking about it for a while. This FTR Santana Ortiz match, I think they know it's going to be good, so they're probably waiting for like a show to build it up.
Yep.
They have like a 6-man tag next week or something, or one of their special shows. That should be good too. But yeah, this is fine. I mean, like, this is just pushing forward the Inner Circle, Pinnacle stuff, where I'm kind of happy that they are not going to do like the big like 5-on-5 anymore. Now they're going to their singles ventures or like their tag team ventures, which is good. And yeah, it's just serviceable to me.
I guess I'll real quick say that I'm less into this Pinnacle Pinnacle versus Inner Circle thing before this week. I was kind of like, oh God, they're still stretching this thing out. This week really invigorated me again. And I thought this promo I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than you guys. I thought even Hager, had a lot of bravado in his voice and was really into it.
Yeah.
Just based on everything we saw tonight, I'm much more into this feud.
I'm very impressed with him. I did not think he could talk.
Yeah.
Just based on history and his Jack's swagger, honestly. Like I really didn't think like he could cut promos like this, but it seems like something awakened something in him, or maybe like just being around Jericho, honestly, because like seeing Jericho on Tough Enough coach people, I'm like, wow, if you actually had any talent and this person talked crap to you like this, you probably would get invigorated, to use your word. But yeah, I've been really impressed with them.
We're also been like, history has been like, we've been used to groups. It's only been just 2 people get highlighted, and then the rest are just, you guys are just backgrounds, don't talk, don't do anything, whatever. So it's refreshing that we're finally kind of getting everyone's character into it.
Yep. All right, so let's go to the main event where MJF defeated Sammy Guevara about 20 minutes when Sean Spears interfered. Jericho interfered to attack Spears, but Wardlow attacked Jericho, and that distraction allowed Spears to hit Guevara with a chair. Match was awesome. I think part of this was a showcase that MJF can go.
Yes,
the
definitely.
main criticism is that he can't wrestle that well.
Yep.
I'm going to go through everything. You guys are probably going to be redundant with all my points. The Sammy Guevara flip to the outside was absolutely nuts. Shades of RVD.
Yeah.
And not only was it nuts, MJF took it like a G. He got slammed. He got hit really hard
in the face.
I had multiple texts saying MJF is out.
Yeah.
Like he got
knocked
out.
And that's what a base does. They actually take the hit rather than just like get skimmed off it and let the other person like slam into a bunch of chairs.
It's like, but I got your arm.
Yeah. That second rope tombstone pile driver was awesome. I was a little bummed in terms of I was like, that's gotta be the end. And then when he kicked out, I was like, that's cool, but come on, that should be the ending.
I will say that's what we flack on NXT on NXT a lot, is that they just kick
Jericho,
out of everything.
Jericho goes, I've never seen that in the United States.
The Rochambeau, Sammy's finisher, him hitting it and bending it too far back so that MJF's foot was in the ropes was so well done. They do everything possible to make MJF barely by the skin of his teeth not get pinned, which I think is great. MJF begging off Sammy to not do the 630, and me being like, God, this is so annoying. Just do it, Sammy. He's something. Someone's gonna grab his leg or something, and then he just did it and hit him with it perfectly. I was like, oh, thank you. That was perfect.
I think that was like my favorite part.
That was so good. I'm not a big fan of interference finishers. The match was so good, I wanted a clean finish, but I'm okay with it. That being said, where was Hager and and Proud and Powerful?
Right. So they're still at the staircase.
But it was awesome. It was an awesome match.
So I don't need to go over everything you said except for to say Sammy, when he hopped off the ropes I never thought they would go into the crowd. I thought something was going to happen, that he wasn't going to go over the barricade. His head, if on the replay you see, really almost hit the barricade. Like, wow. But he clearly goes, I'm not going to miss this. I'm going to at least hit him. And he like fastballed crazy.
He's making himself a star. He really is.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, this was awesome. I totally agree with the finish. Would have loved a clean finish. But that being said, ultimately this is a group feud. So okay. And that's fine. But yeah, this match was awesome. I thought the beginning was, so I just want to nitpick a little bit. Thought the beginning was a little bit looked like a dress rehearsal, because they were like, well, we want to build. We want to do all these oh, I'm anticipating your move. You're anticipating my move. But it was a little too slow, and that it looked a little bit like it probably did on, whatever, Wednesday morning when they were running through it. Yeah. But I really don't want to focus on that. That's just me nitpicking. It was awesome, man. By the end, man, when he jumped off the ropes into over the barrier, I was like on my feet. That was unreal.
Yeah.
And
insane.
Really from when they came back from the break and they said, we're not taking another break after that, it was just on a 10 the whole rest of the time. It was awesome. So good.
Honestly, obviously, the insane flip dive into there, that's probably everyone's favorite part. My favorite part, honestly, because I know we always give praise to MJF, his facial expressions, when he was about to do the 630, and then he's just staring at him as in no, just don't do it, and then you think that something's gonna happen, he's gonna kick or whatever, or move out of the way, or he's gonna land on his nuts on the turnbuckle or whatever, and he actually does it. MJF's face just goes blank, as in oh god, he's gonna do it, and then it just hits him so hard. I was and there's no way to really brace yourself for it to not hurt. It's always gonna hurt. And then I was just oh wow, he might actually win, and then he kicks out the last second. I was okay, I was just this match is great. That might be my favorite part, just because he sold that so well. It was just so funny to see it like that.
Can we just also talk about how insane it is to do a 630 with your body? How crazy is that?
Exactly.
Wait, to add on selling stuff, the freaking after the tombstone when he was selling his knee so bad, and they got up together and he fell over, and then he picked him back up and he fell over again. I was like, this is such good selling. This is what the show as a whole needs more of.
Yeah,
MJF is the absolute G.
Yeah.
So this is maybe props to MJF, but if it had been anybody else, I think I would have been oh, I think they might be really hurt. But because it's him, I'm oh wow, what a great sell job.
Yeah, exactly. What a professional this guy is, or whatever. And I'll maybe disagree with you guys on this. I actually think this match needed to be a dirty finish, not a clean finish. I think it had to be dirty just to the sense of storyline. MJF spoke earlier about he's gonna have stipulations or whatever. So also at the same time, everyone wants to I think they do want to showcase MJF can go, but he's also needs to be the most hated heel ever. Mm-hmm. So when you're having a very good match or whatever, people are gonna love you. I'm okay, great, and then let's not give them what they want. Let's not give them that clean finish and let me win in a cheap way, or whatever. And then Shawn Spears comes out. Honestly, I've been highlighting this. Shawn Spears, he was floundering, not doing anything. He needed the pinnacle, and it's showing well. Yep. And we've never gotten headshots with chairs in quite some time, so it was kind of reassuring.
He covered up.
Well, last time he tried this or whatever, he split Cody's head open pretty badly. So this is a step in the right direction, and of everyone being safe, of course, that's what we all want. But it was kind of nice that it needed to be a faulty finish to a point where oh, he's throwing the kitchen sink at him or whatever, and then one chair shot to the head, he's just out, and they're oh great, he won that, whatever. Then he gets back his heat again.
And one final point, it saves it for a future rematch.
Yeah,
they never got a real clean, and they'll have a pay-per-view match or something with that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not only
that, this and you could point to it and be you remember how freaking good the last one was?
Yes, definitely. Well, and this is kind of showing the future. There's a reason why Sammy was the first match on Dynamite, or the first singles match. They highlighted that or whatever. And MJF, they signed him knowing that he was going to be a big star. These two guys are going to be the future.
Well, clearly Jericho is not going to be the head of the inner circle or what. When this all breaks up, right. Jericho's not going to have a lot of years. They need somebody to be wrestling Sammy.
Yeah.
Or wrestling MJF. I meant.
All right. So then we had a package recapping the time spent at Daly's place over COVID. It finished with JR saying there's no place like seeing WWE Dynamite.
Oh
Yeesh.
man, jeez.
I don't get that upset about fumbles. That was a rough one.
Nah,
But it
dude,
is what
that's
it
not his
is.
first. That's not his first. Like you could have fumbles, but that's a different fumble, and that's not even his first WWE fumble. Like he's done that a lot.
Anyone listening to this podcast can point to 9,000 fumbles that we've all done.
You know, they're like, it's tough, it's hard. Like, yeah,
It is
we
what it
get
is. As long as you bring it when you're at the panel, it just doesn't bother. It would be obviously better if you didn't do that. But
Yeah.
it doesn't
I think
bother
that's
me
probably
as much
why,
as
like,
most
I'm not
people.
like bothered by it, but it just would be better if you just stopped doing it.
Sure. Well, I'm sure he didn't want to.
Well,
But the package
I
is
think
good.
I think we're probably getting close to JR not being on the air anymore. I like, yeah, I don't know.
I
He's good.
disagree.
He's a
I don't
good-
think Tony.
he's a
I
good
don't
old
think
voice.
Tony Khan's going to get rid of him. I think Tony Khan is just too much.
They need
of
it. You know what? They're gonna keep him on for a while. They need a familiar voice. To be honest, they do. And he's
Okay.
one of the most
Yeah.
familiar voices there. But aside from that, I actually like that they gave a promo at this kind of like thanking the, like Daly's place and like the town and everything like that.
Mhm.
And it was also kind of gave us this whole roller coaster of a ride we've been on. Like obviously we'll just stick to professional wrestling, but obviously life in general, whatever, just going
Yeah.
through like each show. And it's kind of funny, like I'm sure like you guys probably thought about this, but like before this whole thing happened, we didn't really we maybe took for granted almost about about fans coming in, and then we just kind of took it for granted, like, oh yeah, it's part of the show, like, oh, okay, they boo, cheer, whatever. And then that went away, and then we realized like, oh, this is kind of ominous, this is a little different, and we got used to it being different. And then like the pay-per-view of Double or Nothing, when the fans came back, we're like, oh my god, this is like 10,000 times better. So it does give a whole new, it was nice kind of getting that whole new appreciation of everyone being back, them being on the road, and then kind of them, and then they're such like a fan first type of mentality too. They want to just give the like best product they want to like what everyone wants as well. And I thought it was a very kind of nice gesture for them.
Yeah, I'll just say real quick, Quags. It was weird for me to be like, oh man, all these other sports are kind of shut down for a little bit, and like the one constant was wrestling, for better or for worse. That they should have kept running, it did keep running. So
for whatever reason they did, man.
I mean,
and
like,
I can't. Cool thing.
Yeah.
It was crazy for me to remember that at the beginning of all this, like Matt Hardy debuted, like Brody Lee debuted. Like, I mean, R.I.P. Brody Lee.
Sad seeing
sad.
Brody stuff, to be honest. I was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
from that was like,
and that carried like 9 months. Like that wasn't a blip. Like that was a long time. I think that my thoughts about the pandemic in the beginning have been like totally blurred. Like didn't realize how long all of that was. But yeah, I love this segment. I was holding my 4-month-old son, watching it towards the end, and yeah, honestly, got a little bit emotional just thinking about the time, thinking about it compared to real life.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's wild. And yeah, that Double or Nothing, seeing the crowd like a full house, and thinking about how I'm gonna get to go to a wrestling show in a couple months. Like, I'm just amped about that, and so happy for where we are after this whole shenanigans that we've been through. Yeah. So I was affected by it for sure.
I'll say I wish they had not chose such a Fort Minor-esque song.
Yes.
It did remind me of like sophomore in high school type of style.
Corny.
Yeah. But
yeah,
it's hard, anytime they do those video montages, like it has to be corner.
It's funny though, because that's when you're like, they're all a bunch of losers, like the Young Bucks and Cody and Kenny.
Yeah, like cool,
they're losers. like I love them. Obviously, we're losers. You know what I mean? But like, they're like, yeah, they're the people that listen to Fort Minor and goes, it's 20%
Pretty cool,
power
man.
and will or whatever. Like,
20% love,
Oh my
15%
gosh.
skill.
Well, I will say this.
They're
though,
like, it adds up to 100.
That being said, we've got Pixies, we've got that Jungle Boys entrance. They're picking good entrance songs.
They're doing well, man.
Chris,
they were doing well. I would say, like, seeing the video, and for those who stuck around this long, great job. We know we've been talking for a while, but it kind of just highlights of just like just highlights. Just enjoy it. Like, look, like you say, like losers and stuff like that. People just want to enjoy stuff just to enjoy it. Like, why does it have to be weird? Not trying to be kind of like that guy or whatever, but like, yeah, pro wrestling is odd. It's super weird, but like, we just enjoy the crap out of it. If you're listening in, we just wanted to enjoy with you guys. That's all we want to do. And like, that's what kind of video kind of made me think, isn't like, all right, we're watching like this wrestling show. There's no fans in there. What are these guys really doing? And then we just got used to it. And then like when fans came back, we're all just trying to enjoy it. So if anything, take anything out of this podcast, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
Amen.
let's hype up their enjoyment by blazing through these anchors.
Anchors and rockets.
All right, let me just say, are we
so my anchor, my rocket art
rocket is definitely main event for everybody?
Easily.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Anvil.
Let's do. What's the anvil besides
the women's match?
Besides the women's match, what's your anvil? Just so we can get some decorum.
I actually was gonna say JR calling AEW WWE, but I'll swap and say the song they used for the ending song for the ending segment. I thought was just a corny choice, but I'm like a music snob.
I'm not gonna swap. I thought that was bad. Their women's division is so much better.
Women's matches
deserve better than that.
Hopefully, Rebel's okay.
All right. I think I actually might have the highest score. So let me hear what you guys think.
I'm gonna say.
And let me real quick say I was not at all excited to watch this episode of Dynamite. And I came out pleasantly surprised.
Man, I'm gonna break protocol because I can't decide just between a 7.5 and a 7. So I'm gonna say a 7.25.
Ooh.
I think it was
7.25. Okay.
Wow.
I think it was
first
really
quarter on the show.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry, and I won't make a habit of doing it, but I thought it was really solid, but it didn't get up to the 8 level for me. So that's where I'm at.
Honestly, I was thinking I was gonna shoot for an 8.5. I really like this show. It kind of blew me away a little bit. I might drop it down to an 8 because that women's match was a stinker. And but it honestly, I know this this song might have been cheesy and montagey or whatever.
In my mind, they're getting their footing again. That's kind of where I'm at.
They're getting
a little bit. So like that's just where I'm at.
We're on Wednesdays. There's no more fillers because that's what let's be honest. We even took a big pause, even doing the podcast because we were just like, we're just gonna repeat the show, whatever. We could have discussed it in 5 minutes. They were filler shows. All those Friday shows were filler shows. Like you can easily wrap them up in 5 minutes.
All right, sure.
Got my notes right here, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
9. I give it a 9. I love the show. I really like the show.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
It was
He's
funny.
back.
Besides the women's segment, there was nothing bad in the show.
That's why,
in my opinion.
Dude, it's because you're back. It's because you haven't watched it. You're back.
He's back.
I'm telling you, I was not thrilled about watching this program. I ended up being like, wow, every single segment was good. Wait, let me real quick say the show before this on Saturday too, and this one had so many quick backstage promos.
Yes, they need
build up the characters so well.
I love those.
Yes.
They do need more of those. They need more of those. Those are great. Those are money. Like, yeah.
Bounces around real quick. It's
just compelling
and we're with
characters.
And we're with All Ego. And we're with Britt Baker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are great.
This is what they're doing phenomenally. They're establishing their own like characters, like to a point of like, okay, we're not like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that guy like 2 years ago, whatever. Now we're finally getting established guys like, oh, there's Darby, oh, there's Jungle Boy, oh, there's Ethan, like all these guys. And there's Hangman. That the stuff with Hangman, that's gonna be good. I really like that. Even
Oof.
that backstage segment. Like if that match didn't happen, that would have been even my rocket.
All
All
right.
right, boys. So if anyone has anything else to add, I think this is
No.
by far our longest review.
Yep, by far.
Peace.
I got
Much love.
Much love here.
Chris has got to pee.
Yeah.
Later,
Take it easy.